Good morning, students. Today we have seen about the quality control and quality assurance. That subject, chapter 2, that is organization of the pharmaceutical plant, personal responsibilities, and training. The remaining things, let us look into each one by one today. Yeah. Today we'll talk about the hygiene and personal hygiene, personal records. So, bodily hygiene and a good bodily hygiene, a high level of general cleanliness, which are very much essential. Those who are working on the manufacture of pharmaceuticals and the similar products. So the first step towards ensuring the hygienic practices among the personals, of course, to recruit the right sort of people in the first place. That is the people who are already observe high standards of the personal hygiene. So the detailed hygiene program should be established and adapted to the different needs within the factory. They should include the procedures which are relating to the particularly the health, the hygiene practices, and the clothing of the person. Otherwise, the person, those who are working in the industry, pharmaceutical industry, particularly, if they have any uh, health issues, so those things will interfere in the product also. That's the reason the hygiene should be maintained. Personal hygiene. All personals who are working prior to and during employment, before and also during employment, as appropriate, they have to undergo the health examination, that means health checkups. The personals who are conducting the visual inspection should also undergo the even the periodic eye examinations also. Not only other health checkups, including the eye periodic eye examinations also. So all personnel should be trained in the practice of the personal hygiene. The high level of personal hygiene should be observed. All those concerned with the manufacturing processes. The personnel should be instructed to wash their hands before they enter into the production areas. That means entering the production areas, and they have to sign for this. Whether for signing into that, that means whether they have entered with the cleanliness. So they have to sign. So this effect should be displayed and instruction should be updated. The hand washing facilities must be conveniently available in the premises. So any person shown at any time to have any illness, apparent illness, or open lessons, that may definitely adverse affect the quality of the product, and it should not be allowed to handle. So all employees should be instructed and encouraged to report to their immediate supervisor, sorry, any conditions. That means either it is relating to plant, an equipment, or even a person, so that they consider may adversely affect the pharmaceutical products. The direct contact should be avoided between the person who is handling, that means operator's hand, and even the starting materials also, packaging materials, that means primary packaging materials and intermediate or even the bulk product. They have to avoid the contact. This direct contact with the pharmaceutical products, packaging materials, the bulk products, etc. So, also they have to ensure the protection of the product from pot contamination. Even the personnel should wear clean body coverings also. They should be covered appropriate to the duties they perform. So including appropriate, even the hair covering also, hairs. So even the user clause, if reusable, so they should be stored in a separate class or closed containers until proper laundered, and if necessary, even those user class, reusable class should be disinfected or even sterilized. So this is very very important things for the hygiene, personal hygiene, and even the smoking, eating, drinking, shaving, and keeping plants, food, drink, smoking material, and personal medicines should not be permitted in the production areas particularly. So then the personal hygiene procedures, including the use of the protective clothing, so should apply to all persons who and all entering into the production areas, whether they are temporary or even the full-time employees or the non-employees also. For example, many times the contractors will come, contract employees will be working, even visitors will be visiting, senior managers and even the inspectors. So they should be they have to use the protective clothing. It is applicable to all, not only the person who are working under that particular area. Then hands, including nails, should be kept very clean. Always be carefully washed. Visits after visits to the toilet. So hand should be clean, the person or any person who is working. So they should, if they go for any washrooms or anything, they should clean their hands, including nails, after visit to the toilet, before meals, even before and even before work commences also, or recommences after break also. So every time, whenever there is a break or anything, they have to maintain the cleaning process. The necessity to observe good oral hygiene, oral also, should be stressed. Eating chewing gum and the ingestion of the sweets or the like should be prohibited in the working areas. So nowadays we are seeing the many of them there. They may be habit of eating something, eating chewing gum and ingestion of sweets. Those things should be prohibited in the particularly the working area. The risk of contamination from nose and even mouth, that can be controlled. How? By not talking. Without talking, you can control. Sneezing or coughing in the vicinity of the exposed products. So whenever there is a products are there which are exposed, the person who is working there, he should not cough, he should not sneeze, or he should not cough in that particular vicinity area. Okay, and if they wear the mask, that's well and good. So the risk of contamination can be controlled from the nose and the mouth. The good care of the hair, including the regular washing and cutting, reduces the risk of contamination. Even the person who is working, he should cut his hairs. Okay, otherwise, even the mustache, beards, or the whiskers. So definitely, they require the most careful grooming if they are not to pose a hygienic risk. Otherwise, so these hair things and all they leads to the contamination. There is a risk of contamination. So even then, coming to the working clothes, particularly the special protective clothing, it should be worn only within the designated work areas, not all the areas. Okay, even if you're going to the canteen, for example, you should not wear. Okay, only the designated work areas only you should wear the working clothes, special protective clothing. The working clothes should be kept separate from the street clothes. The special working shoes, even shoes also there, are overshoes, and they should also be worn in the industry. The shoes should be cleaned and disinfected, so at particular intervals of time, and should be worn only within the working area also. Even this can also even for example, if you want to go for any toilet, that this and this, that should be avoided. Okay, so it should be also be in the within that particular work area. Then coming to the records. What record? Personal records. The personal records are required for whom? For what? For one, the pre and post employment medical check. It means before and post. That means whoever employed in the industry, okay, their personal record should be maintained. And what are the minimum things required? That means the pre and post employment medical checkups and even periodic checkups. This is specifically important in case of eye checkups, skin and other infectious disorders. Very, very important this point. And the personal training records also. Not only personal, their health checkups and other things, even personal training records. The training of the employees on personal hygiene, even the good manufacturing practice, specific job training, motivation training, uh, safety aspects, etc. So they whoever the employees are there, they should undergo the training. Whoever undergone the training for personalizing GMP, specific job training, motivation training, safety. So they have to maintain the records for that also. Penicillin handling of illness of employees. Even that's also very, very important. Then the penicillin sensitivity test should be carried out on employees working in beta-lactam antibiotics area. Those working in that particular beta-lactam antibiotics area, there should be a small sensitivity test for penicillin should be conducted on those employees. So this may also be extended to other sensitive drugs being manufactured in the plant. So that's about the hygiene practice, hygiene of the industry persons. Now let us look into the drug industry location, its design, construction, and the plant layout. So drug industry location. Premises must first they have to locate the premises and they have to design and should be constructed, adopted, and maintained to suit the operations to be carried out. So to start any industry, there should be layout, design, construction, location, premises. So any building or buildings used in the manufacture or processing or packing or holding of drugs product shall be of suitable size. Okay, and construction location also. Construction and location to facilitate cleaning, maintenance, and proper operation. Then the location of the drug industry. Selection of location for a drug industry is a very, very important decision. That means a vital decision because it determines the balancing of the investment as well as the profit. So the plant should be located where the minimum cost of production and distribution can be achieved. Because if the plant is some 300 kilometers away to the city, so the distribution and transportation it will cost more, and the profit margin will be less, and shall not be adjacent to an open sewage or drainage area or in the public toilets, and shall not be adjacent to any factory which produces the disagreeable or obnoxious odor of fumes. And it should not be adjacent to a factory which emits large quantities of dust uh, or the smoke. Okay, that is one. So that means these are the few restrictions and prohibitions are there to for the drug industry location. Otherwise, those things contaminate the product, quality of the product. Then, what are the minimum requirements? So it should have adequate space, at least sufficient space for even for future expansion also, in case if they need. And regional laws to allow the anticipated development while restricting undesirable developments in the these also. Then the availability of water is very, very important. Both quality water and the power, very important. Fuel, sewage, and waste removal. So these are quite very important aspects that means requirements for any drug industry. Okay. And the accessibility for employees. That means the availability of the public transportation, materials, and customers or suppliers. Even that is also it makes a lot of uh, sense here, so that the transportation and other things can be minimized, and even the suppliers, customers can easily approachable and reachable. So then the most important is the environmental issues such as the site history, whether the soil, water, air quality, geological and topological issues, that there the potential for flooding or earthquakes or foundation instability. They should look into that also, topological issues also, and even geological issues also. Then the proximity of undesirable activities like to pollute or act as a source of vermin or insects or odor or microorganisms. There's other industries, disposable sites or open mining, that also be taken into the account. The availability of suitable labor force, the people, skills, wage expectations, labor relations, attitudes, then access to further education sources also there, and also ability to provide the security arrangements, adequate security arrangements. Okay, that's also there. Proximity or the accessibility to related operations in the company or industry, and even marketing, internally produced intermediates or components. They should have the accessibility for what? To the interrelated operations of the company. For example, R&D, there should be accessibility, marketing, internally produced intermediates or any components. Then the political situation, government stability, trade policies, taxation, financial incentives, etc. That should also look into that. Then factors that influence the location. So the primary factors under that, availability of raw materials, one, market for products. You have to, after producing the products, you have to market. That is market for products. Then energy availability, most importantly, transportation facility, and labor supply. So these are the five primary factors. That is, I repeat, availability of raw materials, market for products, energy availability, transportation facility, labor supply. Secondary factors, very important, climate and its soil, government concessions, supply, waste disposal, site characteristics, that means land, flood or fire protection, then social factors. They are all secondary factors. Then the site development plan. So the suitable location for the facility, the site development plan is prepared, and it will include number one, the compliance with appropriate laws and regulations and any additional company standards. They have to comply. Then compliance with the appropriate laws and as well as the regulations. Site resources and infrastructure such as the amenities, uh, even the green space and parking for employees and visitors vehicles and delivery, distribution vehicles, road and rail accessibility, recreation areas, tank, farms, and other external storage. So these are few infrastructures is required. That is resources, site resources. Then the storm water and waste management should be there. Site security and accessibility should be there. That means fencing, posting the guards, and keeping the CCTV cameras and all. Then that means the installing the cameras, CCTV. Then building. Building is layout. One layout, usage, function, relationship for efficiency, possible expansion, and surface finishes. Next comes is the utilities. So utilities is nothing but the design as well as the layout and backup, especially for critical utilities such as electricity and nitrogen for some chemical operations. And then comes the equipment. Equipment is design, layout, space, and capacity. Then the traffic flow. Traffic flow is nothing but pedestrian, road vehicular, internal and external. Then comes the safety for personal and equipment, and contaminant of hazardous materials, sprinkler system, emergency grace, emergency services, accessibility, very important safety. External architecture. External architecture for what? To take into account local environmental conditions like wind, snow, humidity, and aesthetic appearance, blending local atmosphere, comparative image, and its then maintenance, ease of maintenance. Ease of maintenance, accessibility services, that is service ducts, ease of cleaning, access for equipment. These are the few things definitely required. That is the storm water sites, building, utilities, equipment, traffic flow, safety, external architecture, ease of maintenance, and so on. Then selection and use of the experienced contract, that also counts much. Then the identification of project management responsibility there, and then validation plans and an effective change control procedure. Also, provision of design and as built drawings also, and the construction materials. Then comes the objectives of building construction. What could be the objectives for any building construction, pharmaceutical building? So, mainly to prevent the cross contamination, that is major issue, or mix-ups by providing adequate space, preparation of operations, construction, maintenance, and adequate sanitation should be provided. So, in order to prevent the cross contamination or mix-ups, how to control this? Prevent by providing the sufficient space, okay, adequate space, and also separation of operation. Different operations can be taken up in different places, and construction and maintenance, and then the most important, adequate sanitation, etc. Also to keep the building strong and durable. That's also there. And to maintain the safety and the security of the building. So how to make the building safe and secure? By providing the fencing wires, then laying broken glass pieces on the boundary wall, and keeping explosives and inflammable materials outside the factory building separate enclosures. Then exteriors, good exteriors with appealing colors, glass, and metal section there. General requirements for walls, what and all requirements are there for flooring, ceiling, and walls. They should provide that. And all are constructed with hard, non-porous, and non-shedding materials, not like a temporary structure. And then materials of construction should be able to withstand. So, what kind of material you have used during the construction? So that should be able to withstand hot water, even the detergent cleaning operations also. Because plenty of the time we make use of the detergent cleaning water that is for cleanliness, hygiene um, provisions. Then surfaces should be free from any holes or any cracks or any breaks. Okay, free from that, and also surface of walls should be flat without any projections, and all surfaces should be free from peeling paint and even the missing. Okay, that is there. Then the construction materials, particularly walls. Let's look into the what materials can be used for construction of the walls. The position of walls should provide an orderly movement of materials and personnel. That means the position of walls should provide an orderly movement of materials and personnels. And it should minimize the noise level. It should be in such a way that the walls should minimize noise and should minimize the potential for cross contamination also. And walls should, which are manufacturing area, walls in manufacturing areas, corridors, and packing areas should be of plaster finish and high quality concrete blocks or the finish should be very smooth. That means walls and usually with enamel or the paint and prefabricated partitions that may be used in packaging areas where flexibility of layout is important. The prefabricated units with minimum panel joints are used in sterile areas. Okay, the projection on walls should be avoided. Very, very important. Walls also. Then, what are the commonly used materials of wall finish? That is epoxy coating, polyester coating, seamless PVC, welded sheet PVC, prefabricated wall panels. That's there. So these are the commonly used materials for finishing of the walls. Okay, so then look into the floors in the tree. So for floors covering should be selected for durability as well as the cleanability and resistance to chemicals with which it is likely to come in contact many times. Floors. That is why the floor should be durable and as clean as possible, and also it should have resistance to the chemicals with which it is likely to come into the contact. Then tiles are poured in place finishes are available. There should be effective sealing between the tiles to prevent dirt and microorganisms. Otherwise, what happens? There will be entry of the microorganisms or dirt, and it leads to the contamination. If there is a the what gaps the tiles. Then vinyl sheeting provides an even easy to clean surface as it happens. It has no joints. Vinyl sheeting. And epoxy flooring. Also, it provides a durable and readily cleanable. Then typical floor finishes are paint finish over concrete. That can also be done. Typical floor finishes. Vinyl for tile sheets. Then welded. Then epoxy, polyurethane, etc. So these are the few things for floors and walls. Also, we are seeing now. Let us look into ceilings. So suspended or false ceilings. The ceilings are also very, very important in that suspended or false ceilings. They are all made up of non-brittle, non-friable, non-asbestos, and non-combustible material may be provided in office areas and even laboratories, toilets, and cafeterias also. And then manufacturing areas require smooth finish, often of seamless plaster or the when the gypsum board also can use. Where the manufacturing area, particularly it requires a smooth finish. Then all ceiling fixtures such as light fittings, air outlets, returns, PA systems, sprinkler heads, they should be designed to assure ease of cleaning mainly and to minimize the potential of accumulation of the dust. Okay, so those things are there. Then finishing material for sealing. What are the materials we can use for the sealing? Okay, the simple painting or covered by gypsum plastols. You can finish the even gypsum board coated with epoxy resins, polyester and seamless PVC. Services. The building design. If we take the building design, so the design, building design, there should be provision should be made for what? For water, for steam, for drains, electricity, and other services to allow for ease of maintenance. Okay, we're talking about the services. Then access should ideally be possible without disruption of activity with the actual rooms which are provided with the. Just have a look here, the design principles, example of materials and people flow, how the persons will be exit. Okay, and so here a small example is given. Design principles. Arrival of goods. The first in the any industry, we go there. Arrival of goods will be there. Then another area, raw materials and packaging storage, both can be done there. Then there should be a, yes, just see the layout plan. Different zones have been given. The pink zone is given for cleaning. Clean, it should be very much clean. Green zone is given lines packaging. Then blue zone is given controlled. And then material flow, people flow, all is given very clearly. Quality control department, officers, governing body, corridors, and weighing, processing, washing, filling, machine shop, finished products, storage, packaging, canteen should be there, shipping, and utilities, services, waste treatment, so on. This is a very simple design principles, materials, and also for the person flow. Process flow. Let us look into this. Process flow, that is the sequence of event that will take place in a process. That's called process flow. And material flow, the routing of materials throughout the facility. It's important to show the status of the materials as well. This means indicating whether they are quarantined, approved, or rejected. And also the volume, weight, or frequency of movement, and the way which the material is to be. Material flow is very, very important. Okay. Then people flow. The routing taken by people when they enter the factory, when they move around in the factory from one department to another, and when they leave the factory. So each and everything has been given in the design principle plan, how people will move the factory from one area to other area and exit also. Okay. Then premises design, very, very important. All manufacturing pharmaceuticals, that means pharmaceutical industry, premises design, very, very important. The important areas required are number one, production area, storage area, three, weighing area, quality control area, and ancillary. These are the prime areas in the premises design. Okay, let us look into the production area. So this production area should be dedicated and it should be self-contained facilities must be available. Why? To minimize the risk of cross-contamination. Okay. Then layout should be in the sequence of the operations and there should be adequate working and in-process storage space and uh, the interior surfaces, that means walls, floors, ceilings, and they should all be very smooth and they should be free from cracks as well as open joints, and they should not shed any particulate matter and should permit easy and effective cleaning. So in such a way, the interior surfaces should be there, okay, and even the in-process storage space should be there, and other operations, and also maximum we have to minimize the risk of cross contamination of production area. Then the work, pipe work, light fittings, ventilation points should be designed and fixed in such a way that they are all easy to clean as well as far as possible, and also for maintenance purposes also, and they should be very much accessible outside the manufacturing area. Pipe fitting. What are those? Light fittings, ventilation points, and pipe works. Then the drains. The drain should be of adequate size and design, and should have a very proper size, adequate suction size, and it should be designed so it should be equipped to prevent any backflow. Okay, it should have that capacity to prevent the backflow and should be designed for easy cleaning and the function purpose. Okay, in such a way, the drain should be designed. Production areas should be effectively ventilated always with air control facility. That means clean air, temperature, and the humidity. Then premises for the packaging of pharmaceutical product, it should be specifically designed again and laid out as so as to avoid the mix-ups or even the cross contamination. So here also there is a lot of risk of cross contamination because the product now we are going to pack uh, the packaging materials. That's the reason the premises for the packaging of pharmaceutical products should be specifically designed and should lay out as to avoid the mix-ups or any cross contamination. And the production area should be well lit, particularly where visual online controls are carried out. Then storage areas. It should be of sufficient capacity to allow orderly storage of various categories of products with proper separation. That means the raw materials should be kept separately, solid should be separate again, liquid should be separate, kept separate, packaging materials, because it's a very big area wherein you can separate the things and they can segregate and you can quarantine, and whenever there is a requirement you have to release the materials, and whenever there is a need rejected, returned or recalled products. So it's also very prime area storage area, and we should have the sufficient capacity to allow the most of the categories of the materials at the industry. It should be designed or adapted to ensure good storage conditions. The main important is the temperature as well as the humidity. Then receiving and dispatching base should be separated. Quarantine and approved materials are stored in separate areas and must be clearly marked. Okay, so that is there. And the access to storage must be restricted to authorized persons only. Authorized personnel. Access to storages must be restricted to authorized person. Highly active and radioactive materials in case even the narcotics, radioactive materials, or any other dangerous drugs and substances, so they are going to present the risk of abuse or fire or explosion. They all should be stored in a safe and secure areas. Then special attention should be paid for what? For sampling and safety and secure storage printed packaging materials. What kind of the material, the information is printed on the packaging material, that should be you have to take much care. Special attention should be paid for that, and there should be a separate sampling area for starting materials. As I told you just now, the various categories of drugs should be segregated, kept, and everything. That means liquid, solid, raw materials, products, anything. Okay, so there should be a separate sampling area for starting material if sampling is performed in the storage area. That case, and it should be conducted in such a way as to prevent the again what cross contamination or the contamination. That is a very brief about the storage area. Then let us look into weighing area. The weighing area of starting materials always should be carried out in a separate weighing area. You cannot carry the weigh wherever you need, wherever you desire to get weighings and all. No, avoided. They are not permitted. It's only in the weighing area you should weigh the materials. There should be provision for dust control also. And weighing areas may be part of either storage or even production area. Just away from that. Then the quality control areas is very, very important again. Quality control laboratories should be separated from production areas. It should not be mixed with any department like production area or anything. Areas where biological, microbiological, or radioisotope test methods are employed should be separated from each other. And the quality control laboratories should be designed to suit the operations to be carried out in them. So this is a very prime area, the quality control area, because all the raw materials and even finished products or whatever the test to be done in this area only, and they should also assure each and everything. That is why it's very, very important area quality control. And then sufficient space should be given to avoid the mix-ups as well as the cross contamination. So we have to avoid that. And there should be adequate suitable storage space for sampling, that means samples, and the reference standards, solvents, reagents, and parts. Then the design of the laboratories should take into the take into the account the suitability of construction materials, prevention of fumes, ventilation, and so on. Such a way the liver laboratory should be designed. That means they have to take everything, the fumes and ventilation aspects also. Also, there should be a separate air supply to laboratories as well as the production areas. And there should be a separate air handling units and other provisions which are needed for biological, even microbiological, and radioisotope laboratories. Separate room may be needed for instruments, but for to protect them against the electrical interference, vibrations, contact with excessive moisture, external factors, or where it is necessary to isolate the instruments. Those are the few things need to be taken into account in quality control areas. In ancillary areas, what exactly this ancillary? It means the restrooms, even refreshment rooms, should be separate from the manufacturing and the area. Facilities for changing and storing clothes. Okay, and for washing and toilet purposes should be easily accessible and appropriate for the number of users. Okay, then toilets should not open directly to production or storage areas. Should be away from that. And maintenance workshops should, if possible, be separated from the production area. And whenever parts and tools are stored, in case in the production area, they should be kept in rooms or lockers reserved for that use. Prior precautions should be taken. Then animal houses, if at all if it is there, they should be well isolated from other areas with separate entrance and air handling facilities. Okay, so that means we have seen the different areas. Okay, that means what are the premises design in this? We have seen production area, storage area, weighing area, quality control areas, and the ancillary areas. Okay, Then next class, let us see about the uh, plant layout and types of plant layouts, layout, advantages, disadvantages, and other things. Yes. And the references and other things can be given at the end of this chapter. Thank you very much.